Hello everybody, welcome back. With this video I wanted to take a look at how power works in Star Citizen 3.0, the available power our vessels have, how we can manage properly that power with the new multifunction displays, but also how is that power affected by the various components we can purchase and equip our vessels with. This is going to be our main focus today, but we are also going to take a quick look at shield management. Thanks to the new multifunction display system, we can assign specific screens in the cockpit to show us always specific info. In our case, since we care about the energy, the power we have in our catalyst and how we can manage it properly, we will choose to have the first screen showing that power. You have to remember that every vessel has a different number of screens in the cockpit, and you will have to choose sometimes which info are more important for you to always have in front of you. From the energy screen, we can see the maximum power we have on our catalyst based of course on the components we have equipped and what percentage of that power we are consuming. What percentage of that power is required in order to have our components and weapons and everything on our vessel up and running. We can also see our signatures, which of course are again affected by the components we are using, and the triangle from where we can manage our power. We can change how much power our weapons, thrusters and shields are using. By clicking on the Items tab, we can see the components that we have equipped on our vessel. In this case, this is the default loadout of the catalyst. So we can see what kind of impact our quantum drive, our power plant, our shields and our weapons have on our power consumption. Their status, if they're damaged or not, the heat they generate, and of course their wear, which is not yet implemented in game. It is good to know the stats of these components, and it will be a very handy info later when we will change them and equip some better in order to see the impact on power management. But for now, let's go ahead and experiment with our settings and try to see what kind of impact that will have on our power management. As you can see, even if we assign more power to our weapons, the rate of fire of our weapons does not change. There is absolutely no difference. Even if we assign the entire power we have on our weapons, there is absolutely no change on the efficiency of our engines, on how fast we accelerate or decelerate. And we still have our shields, so it is kind of obvious that these settings have absolutely no impact on our vessel and on our power management when we have full power, when there is absolutely nothing wrong with our components. Everything changes the moment we enter into stealth mode. Now everything is very different. Even with the balance setting, our rate of fire, the rate of fire of our weapons is very slow, and if we want to increase it, we will have to assign more power to our weapons. But by doing so, we reduce power from engines and shields, losing efficiency. And the easiest way to notice this is by how much time it takes to accelerate and decelerate when we don't have enough power assigned to our engines. So in order to increase our engine efficiency, we will have to assign more power to our engines in order to be able to accelerate and decelerate properly. This of course is on purpose, and this system wants to put us in a situation where we will have to decide which our priorities are. It may have absolutely no impact when our power is full, when we are having absolutely zero problems, but it is a very important system to keep in mind and to learn how to master when we want to approach someone or something without being noticed, or even more importantly when we have damage, when our components are damaged and cannot run as efficiently as before. Moving on to the shield management of our vessels, we can see here with the default loadout, the default shields that the catalyst comes equipped with, what kind of power we need in order to keep our shields up and running. So we will need 120 power at all times in order to have our shields up and running. By clicking on the items, we can see the shield that we have equipped, or the shields, the power they require in order to continue running, their health, their wear, which is not implemented yet in game, and the heat they generate. Again, if we have a problem with our power, if we need to save some power in order to have other components up and running, then we can disable our shields and save that power, use it somewhere else. A very important info you need to remember about disabling and enabling again power is that when you re-enable your power of the shield, it will require double the power of before in order to recharge it. So why would someone do that if he doesn't have a lot of power? Well, by disabling our shields, the first benefit is that we gain some extra power to use other components, and the second benefit is by doing so we are lowering our signatures if we want to approach something or someone without being noticed. Another way we can manage properly our shields is by assigning shield power at different sides of our vessel. So depending on where we are attacked from, or if we are expecting to be attacked from a specific direction, we can assign more shield power over there and protect ourselves more efficiently. Now let's go ahead and see what happens when we change our components. I have equipped military class components on our Catalyst, and as you can see there are some changes on our power. We have slightly more power, but more importantly our power usage is a lot more efficient now. We are consuming less percentage of our total power than before. Our signatures have increased, but this is the drawback of using military components. Military components in general have better performance than the other components, but they also have higher signatures. By using military components that are a lot more efficient and have better performance, we are consuming less power than before, and that means that we have more available power to upgrade our vessel and use better and more power-hungry weapons and components. This is going to be especially helpful if we want to upgrade the weaponry of our Catalyst, use more power-hungry laser energy weapons, or in the future when we will have more options for components, when we could use scanners, other types of components that will help us in our adventures. Like this, we also have more available power to use when we are in stealth mode. The components have impact on our shields as well. With the military shield we're using now, we require less power than before. It is not a big difference, but this is because we don't have a plethora of options right now in the persistent universe. Still, we're using less power than before, and it will take us not only less power to run our shields, saving more power in general, but it will also take less power to recharge our shields if we need to disable and enable them again. Another example I wanted to show you is between a military Gladius and a stealth Gladius. As you can see here, this is the default Gladius actually, I haven't changed anything. It is a military vessel, so it comes with these components, and we can see that it has this power and these signatures. But if we change to a stealth loadout, our power will be significantly lower, but our signatures will be significantly lower as well. With a stealth loadout, a full stealth loadout on this Gladius, we have problem running all of our components and weapons, even when we are not in stealth mode. And this is because the stealth power plant is not sufficient to run the weapons and the components that the Gladius has. To achieve some balance and have most of our components running properly, then we will have to play with combinations. We will have to disable weapons, we will have to disable one of our shields in order to have the rest of our items, the rest of our shields and weapons running. So it is obvious that the components we choose for our vessels have a huge impact on the performance of our vessels, and we will have to be very careful what kind of components we buy in the future. So it is very easy to understand how important is the proper management of power and shields, not only in case of an emergency, but at all times. But unfortunately for the pilot, it is not very easy to manage the power, to manage the shields, especially if you are under attack, if you are fighting someone. This is why in multi-crew vessels, your co-pilot or your shields power specialist matters a lot. It is up to the co-pilot or the person responsible for the power and shield management to keep you alive, and it will be much easier if you are focusing, if the pilot is focusing on piloting and the specialist of power or shield is focusing on properly managing power and shield. So this is everything I'm going to share with you today. Properly managing our power and shields is very important right now, and it will become a lot more important later when we will have a lot more options to choose from regarding components and weapons, ship weapons. So it is a function that I consider especially helpful to master and understand exactly how it works. It could save your life one day in the verse. Thank you very much for joining me. If you enjoyed the video, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for more. I am SquidofLove and I will see you around the verse. Bye bye.